Okay, so your study guide, I gave you a hard copy, but you can also find it in your OneNote in the content library under Q2 MAUS. So that's it, but I made another bigger page for us to take a look at just to go over. So the beginning of your test is going to ask you similar questions to this, except it'll be multiple choice. You'll need to know what an allegory is. And know that I'm going to put some definitions in there and some options that are partly right, but not 100% right. What's the difference between postmodernism and metafiction? Well, if you're wondering about that, because you think, what? There's a difference? Well, yeah. Go look in your content library. I have all of the things that we've been learning, if I can click on it the right way. Okay. There it is. Postmodernism, a literary style, some trends, and then it tells you what metafiction is. So obviously, postmodernism is a literary style. Metafiction is a feature or a trend in that literary style. So that's how they're different. One's a style, one is actually a feature. And metafiction is writing about writing. So they're going to be, those basic questions like that. What's an example of pastiche? Well, first of all, to be able to tell me what an example is, you've got to know what pastiche is. Well, again, toggle over here and you can see, or your notes, and see what that is. Carrying baggage. There are a few classes that I still need to go over this, and I will at the beginning of class. And then it'll be very easy for you to see what carrying baggage is. Catharsis. We talked about this with Prisoner on the Hell Planet. A really good place to, what I would do tonight is reread whatever my class's Socratic discussion was, because sometimes I dropped in what we were talking about. I also have dropped into everyone's folder what I thought was the best Socratic discussion. I think it came out of 2A. And it went really deep. So it's got a lot of information. So I would read over my class discussion and then the one that I've titled the best Socratic discussion so you can see. I even was able to drop in pictures to theirs because they just really went deep. So I would definitely look over, quote unquote, the best Socratic discussion. Okay, let's go back to this. You're going to have the original comic. I have a copy for everybody to look at. It's 3 pages. It appeared before the book. So you're going to have to write out a few things that you've noticed that is different between the MAUS book that we've been studying and then this original comic that's 3 pages. And I'm going to want you to notice things just like we've been noticing in class. That's why we've been practicing noticing things so that you can notice something. Here are some of the other questions that you'll encounter. There are 2 plots, but 3 storylines in MAUS. How is Blodik's Holocaustal tale told? Well, first of all, I'm going to think this out. What 3 storylines? What are they? 3 stories. There's Art trying to figure out his dad. There's Vlodik flashing back to the past. And then there's the allegory story, which of course is Hitler's stereotyping of people, his view of people. Spelled wrong. Okay. Just like sugar in 4th grade. All right, so there are 2 plots but 3 storylines. So here are 3 stories. Artie, Vlodik, the allegorical story. How's Vlodik's tale told? Well, hey, we thought of it already. Vlodik is flashing back to the past. So that's how he's telling his story while he's on his exercise bike. What event most likely contributes the most to Anja's suicide? Well, we know how Artie feels. Artie feels like he contributed to it. That's why he's in the guilty prison on the Hell Planet. Gosh, I can't type tonight. Okay, but that's probably not what contributed to her suicide. She has been on the brink of a breakdown the whole time that we've been with her. So, it's not the Artie that's caused this. It's going to be a combination of things that has caused this for Anja. There are going to be 4 questions that are like this one. It appeared in an obscure underground comic book. I never thought he would see it. What does obscure mean here? First things first. What I do is I cover up the choices. Do not look at the choices. Try to think of what that word means without looking at the choices. So it appeared in an obscure underground comic book. Here's my clue, underground. Well, if something's underground, it's hard to be seen. If you want something to be found, don't bury it. So I would say hidden. Now I've thought of an answer. Now I'm going to look at my choices. What's happening? Now I'm going to look at my choices because I have an answer in my head. Well, unheard of. There we go. The trick is to think of the answer before you look at your choices, because the choices will try to trick you, and then plug it back in and see if it makes sense. Plug it in, plug it in. It appeared in an unheard of underground comic book. I never thought he'd see it. At the beginning of chapter 2, Vladek is shown multiple panels counting his pills. 6 pills for the heart, 1 for diabetes, 25 or 30 vitamins. Directly we learn. Indirectly we learn. So anything that's direct, you can quote it. You can pretty much quote it verbatim. So directly we learn he takes 6 pills for his heart. He takes 1 pill for diabetes. Okay, so we directly learned that because he told us. Things that are direct, those are your triangles in your essay plan. Indirect is when we step back and we put some clues together. So I see that he's taking 6 pills for his heart. I see that he's got diabetes. I see that he's taking 25 or 30 vitamins. He's saying he must fight to save himself. I can conclude that he is very health conscious because I put these clues together. Therefore, I can conclude that he is health conscious. Okay. You may be given some panels to look at, and you may be asked some questions about them. So just like we've practiced in class when I'd read it out loud, and I'd say, what do you notice? I wonder why he did that. Well, that's what you may have to do on the test. In chapter 1, Vladek says, didn't know, of course, he was a communist. I always kept far away from the communist people. Well, that's like me saying, I did not know that they were a Democrat. Always kept far away from the Democrats. I didn't know that he was a Republican. Always kept far away from the Republicans. Vladek says this without even the hint of irony that he was a victim of this. I didn't know, of course, he was Jewish. I always kept far away from Jewish people. That could be him. Yet he still says it. What conclusion can we make there? And then, of course, I'm going to ask you about the meal scenes. So that's, again, where you can turn to your Socratic discussion because we wondered about meal scenes. And I gave you a page about how it's more than a meal scene. So those are some things that I would do before the test. I would go over the study guide. I would read over my class's Socratic discussion. And then I would read over the best Socratic discussion that I dropped in for you. Okay, hope this helps.